Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Journey to the Farlands. I guess Farlandiversary, day 33 today. I am pretty convinced I'm gonna keep this going for a good while. I don't know about to the end of the month, but I definitely do want to try and get that screenshot episode out if I can get the screenshots done. That is really dependent on if I can do that because there's hundreds of them that I have to go through. It might just have to wait until next year, which I'm fine about. But yeah, or even in between somewhere during this month. I might just wrap up Farlandiversary early. We'll see. But today, anyway, I'm going to do a long, very long episode, so you don't have to watch through the entirety of this episode. I'm planning for it to be fairly long, maybe even the longest of any episode. We'll see. Depends where things go. But yeah, it'll be an interesting time. But I'm gonna do like the casual, normal commentary anyway for the first while, and then yeah, the rest will be walking and more walking, and guess what? Even more walking. Now it's just walking with me talking. But yeah, doing another commentary. I've done quite a few different commentaries this week already, but I'm pretty happy about how things have been going lately with the channel and all the stuff I've been doing. I guess the big thing for Journey right now is the Cherry Special that just came out 2 days ago. It's not like it doesn't have crazy viewership, but I looked at the watch time, and for the amount of views, it's got a lot of good watch time. So I'm glad. It seems like people have enjoyed it, and I'm glad that people have enjoyed the Cherry Special because it's nice to have Cherry come on, every few months and do a special. And I think this one was especially fun. Yeah, it was good though. It's always nice to have other people on for commentary. It freshens things up a little bit. I mean, there are episodes where I'm just chatting with someone in the chat, or Cherry even in the chat. But it's definitely nice to have another side to the commentary. Keeps things kind of a back and forth more than just me talking into the ether or to whoever stumbles across the series. But no, it was a lot of fun though the other day doing that. It's a longer commentary, it's a few hours. I think even 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours long. But it's worth a watch if you'd have the time. I think it's rather fun. A lot of fun. I don't got many more tricks up my sleeve for the remainder of Farlandiversary. Probably just longer episodes. That's probably all I'll do. I don't got any revelations or anything, like any crazy episodes to do. So it'll probably remain a bit more mundane from here. Now that I think today is the 2-year anniversary of leaving Spawn. The episode 2 days ago I said was 2 years because that was 2 years since I created the world. And I think that's how I'll do it going forward. Last year I didn't really celebrate 1 year. I guess I did through the entirety of Farlandiversary, which I guess is the whole point, but I did it more so this year. I kind of concentrated the anniversary into 1 day, but it's still kind of across the 33 days here. Just some less so, the no commentary episodes, but that's kind of just bridging the gaps anyway. Looking forward to going back to the regular numbered episodes though very soon. Probably in a few weeks. But it has been a lot of fun. And it's not quite over yet. I still got a little bit left in me. A little bit of journeying, longer episodes and stuff ahead. Regardless of whether Farlandiversary will cover it or not. It'll still be in the series regardless. But yes. That's been a lot of fun. And I talked about it in the Cherry Special, but I'll kind of go over some of the talking points that I went through in that episode in case people missed it. I did continue Newcraft. I did do another episode, which should be coming out next week. I'm gonna I'm still kind of ironing out the schedule a little bit. I know for sure Silver Age is going to be Wednesdays. It has been historically Wednesdays, so I'm going to keep it to Wednesdays for that. And Newcraft has historically been Mondays and Thursdays. That's kind of like an open either or thing, but I think I'm going to do a much more rigid day to do it if I do feel like doing an episode, which I did so happen to feel like doing the other day for the first time in like a month. I know I haven't played that server in a long time, and I do talk about it in the episode, so I'm not going to prattle on about Newcraft too much. I think I talk about it enough already in my episodes here. So I'm not gonna go on that whole spiel about Newcraft because I doubt a lot of people care, or if they do care, there's a series for it and the episode will be out next week. I'm not sure when I'll be getting it out. I was hoping to do it Sunday, but it might have to wait until like kind of Monday or maybe even Thursday or Friday. I'm not quite sure yet. I gotta iron it out. What's going on with that? And then Better Than Adventure. Also, I'll have to figure out what I'm doing. I might try and sneak in an episode at some point. I might have to just do it tomorrow and just do a delayed thing. But I might push Better Than Adventure back to being a single episode a week series. Just to give myself a bit of wiggle room. Although I guess the next play session for Better Than Adventure is going to be a longer one, so I'll be able to do a few episodes as opposed to just doing one per play session as per sitting. So yeah, that'll be fun. Be able to get lots of progress done in that time. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow or maybe even Sunday. So there probably won't be an episode this week for Better Than Adventure, but it's been a little bit all over the place for stuff, so I just haven't had the time to do Better Than Adventure this week. But yeah. But yes. 2 years I've been doing this world here. And yeah, it's been quite the experience for sure. It's about what I expected it to be. You know, I didn't really anticipate how long it would take. I knew it would take a while. I actually think overshot a little bit. Thought it would take forever. Not forever, actually forever, but like I meant more like quite some time. I guess it will take quite some time, even still. But I've definitely made it a good ways out. Proven some of my earlier thoughts wrong. Of the lack of, about how this was just gonna be like everything else and wasn't gonna go on very long. And it wasn't like, I know spite's like a great motivator, but there was no spite or anything with this series. It was just a natural thing. About as natural as a series could get. Like I don't, as opposed to other stuff, I feel like this is the one that feels the least like a chore to do. But I guess that's because of how simple it is in nature. Having to actually build stuff and think of like get the list going and what you want to do. I think that makes it a little bit more difficult, especially if you're not really in the zone, which is where I was with Better Than Adventure this week. I didn't really feel like picking up where I left off just yet. So I'll be able to get if I manage to get an episode tomorrow, if I'm not too busy, I might just be able to start that recording session for the house building or base building, and then I'll be able to finish that going into next week, which would be nice. Beta mod pack, which is lovely. I did try to add a new mod to the journey here, which broke the minimap. I went over that last episode, of course. I'm just kind of reiterating some of the things from the last episode just to hammer it home for people who haven't seen it and are just watching this. But yeah, that mod, I tried adding a version display mod, but it seems to conflict with Ray's minimap, which is the minimap mod I use. And it's a really interesting modding beta Minecraft because it's a lot different. I guess there is some mods from back in the day. I think actually the Raised minimap I use is from 2011. It's an archive, but there's a few mods like that. But then there's also mods that were recently developed, or I don't really know when the jitter fix was made. I don't know if it actually was. I mean, it's not too difficult to fix, from what I know. I don't really know the technical stuff behind the floating point stuff. That whole thing with the jitters. But apparently, it's not too difficult to fix. The jitter fix file I use or mod is pretty simple. I don't understand it. That's all. But yeah, I guess it's not too bad. A few of the mods I have, like the new one I got, I think was from back in the day as well. This new one, which changes the rendering of the blocks in your inventory. I kind of like it a bit more. I like the beta 1.8 rendering. I think it's cool. Might just keep that. It doesn't really change anything, of course, so I'm just gonna keep it since it's not advantageous or anything. Try not to keep too many mods like that. That's why I got rid of the click drag. I had that for a while and I got rid of it. Had some second thoughts about it. Cause I felt like, as weird as it sounds, it felt a bit like cheating. Being able to click drag. Felt like it was, even though it was a fix. Although there was that kind of period around, I don't even remember. It was when my instance broke and I had to switch back. I don't remember when that was. It was a little while ago when I had to fix all that. I was starting to throw in a bunch of mods and make the experience a little bit better. But I just like trying to go with it. Kind of a relatively pure kind of a situation. So I'm keeping it as close to beta 1.7.3 as it can be without changing too much. I'm sure some people may be like, oh, it's your world. You can do what you want with it. But, I mean, largely I agree with that. But just for the sake of the world itself, I don't want to make it too different. I feel like I already tested that enough with all the stuff that's happened to the world. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I probably might throw a light mod in here and there, but it's really not. I don't do it very often. I mean, I've done this for a few years. I did some light modding in the beginning around, I think just before testing the waters. I think that was right around the time where I was starting to use multi-MC, because there was actually a while where I just used the beta Minecraft with no mods, like in the beginning. And that worked pretty well until the jitters got bad, and then I wound up fixing the jitters pretty quickly after they got bad. And that, I don't think, really changes anything apart from like the visual aspect of the journey. Doesn't look like my game's like all over the place. And I guess that's the closest thing. When people think of like going out that far in Minecraft, you think that like the game slowly deteriorates. But that's really the only thing that seems to happen the further you go out, is the jitters, which I guess could be what people are talking about. Because it does look like the game's like falling apart, but it's nothing quite so serious. Although I guess when you're actually out there at that point, or even further out, if you manage to teleport or whatever, it gets a lot more odd, even than where I am right now. But once I've gotten rid of the jitters now, and everything is kind of uniform again. There's no there's no deterioration of the visual aspect of the game, but that's all right. I quite prefer it. That's one of the things where I kind of stepped in and was like, that's something that I think I'd want to not deal with. It was cool for a while, crossing like the jitter points and stuff, like every power of 2 away from spawn, but the fact that like the actual rendering of the game got kind of less accurate and like just it didn't look right, and it kind of I'm sure it would make people a bit deter people a little bit, which I guess the series isn't really the formulated in the best way for viewership, but I want to try and do things where I can, and so that was one of those things. But yeah, I've only like lightly modded though throughout the years. The odd mod in every once in a while, and then the odd mod that just breaks everything. Yeah, and I gotta remember to back things up. I was gonna do that today, probably. Oh well, I'll do that during my break if I can remember to. And another thing that was brought up last episode, Cherry suggested it, was actually putting some commonly asked questions in the description. And I might try and do that from now on because I think people tend to ask the same questions. So I'm just going to do some commonly asked questions in the description of the video. So if you want to know, I guess, like what the Farlands are, why don't I never nether travel, that kind of thing, I might put that in the comments. Everything that everyone's asking all the time. I can also ask why is the world size so small? I don't know. It can kind of unravel a little bit. And I guess if I get tons and tons of questions from people, I always might end up doing a Q&A again, but I don't really need to right now. It would just be reiterating a lot of the same points from the last Q&A episode, which was a long time ago. Not a whole lot has changed. A little bit, but it's still fundamentally the same series. The little things have changed. Like I've talked about the little things I've tweaked with the journey. Like when I fixed the beds a long time ago. Or when I stopped mining cobblestone randomly, intermittently, and started doing the hidey holes instead, which was one of my better decisions. I like the hidey holes. That was from watching, Farlands or Bust or Tinfoil Chef's Journey to the Farlands, because the hidey hole is a common thing. It kind of came from Kurt J. Mack originally, and then I watched TFC do it in his series. And I just picked off of that. And that's why my bed in the beginning had that torch, because that's how they did it. And it ended up not doing me very good a few times, when I died once or twice. I guess Tinfoil Chef never died in his world, or if he did, he died at like a base or something, because yeah, that torch thing is catastrophic. If you don't have a place to respawn, then it'll just kick you back to spawn, which happened to me a few times. But I've since fixed that, and the really only the worst thing that can happen. Generally, I'm not gonna, a knock on wood kind of thing. But generally the worst thing that happens now is that I lose my stuff. Because it seems like the timer for the items despawning seems to activate like from when I die. And no matter whether the chunks are loaded or not, I feel like the items still despawn. I don't know, though. Because the last time I died, I managed to recover my stuff in a relatively timely manner. So it's hard to say. I don't really know how death mechanics work in beta Minecraft. It feels like it's a little bit different though from modern Minecraft. Because of that key fact there. Because I always feel like when I die in modern Minecraft, I have like oodles of time because, when I'm not loading the chunks, I have infinite time. And then when I actually load the chunks, you have that 5 minutes or whatever the timer is. I think that changed over time at some point. So it might not be that 5 minutes. It might be a little bit less than that. And that'll help me even less. But my best real way to avoid that is just by not dying altogether, which I've been doing pretty well at for a while. Really, the last few deaths I've had were from poor decision making or just generally that boat bug that I ran into where the boat would go into the terrain and I would take damage. Like a whole lot of damage. I don't know why. Seems like some kind of collision. You know, a bug. I don't know. I haven't had it happen ever in the journey, but now that it does happen, since I got that boat mod removed, I you know, I've been avoiding the boats. Well, I've been jumping out of the boat before it hits the shore, really, if it's gonna break or that kind of thing. Or even if it doesn't, like I avoid just coasting a boat along the shore now, because even that like is enough to cause the damage bug. And the armor has saved me once. Like having diamond armor did save me, I think, once when that happened. And I was down to half a heart. I don't know why this happens. It all seems to stem from. I mean, it could have been a thing in the game the whole time, and I maybe have just been oblivious to it, and it never happened to me. But my guess is back a while ago, in Journey, I actually, in the old instance, I actually have an old instance of Journey. It's the same world. I didn't change world or anything, but because I have backups and stuff. But I was testing a bunch of mods, and one of the mods, it was called, I think, the Bolt mod, and it was for beta 1.7.3, of course. It was from Planet Minecraft. And the mod basically made it so that when your boat hit the shore, you know, when you broke your boat, it wouldn't drop the planks and sticks like it does in old Minecraft versions. It actually would drop itself, which is kind of how modern Minecraft boats function more so. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, that was part of my effort of trying to make things more efficient and a bit nicer so I don't have to craft boats all the time. And that mod didn't work. Something with the mod conflicted with something else, or the mod itself was broken. I'm not sure what it was. But whenever I would, you know, whenever something would happen with a boat, they would hit the shore and the game would crash. And no matter what, whenever I broke a boat, the game would crash. I'd reload the game, it'd still crash. So I was like a little bit freaked out. Like, oh, is my world, something happened to my world, something like my game? And I ended up switching instances altogether, because even after I removed the mod and all the mods that like I thought would be the problem or the conflict, it still crashed. I think even if I were to open it now in the old instance, it still would crash. But luckily I did move the world over to this instance, which is pretty much the same thing, a carbon copy of the other instance that I made. With you know, minus that mod, of course, and a bunch of the annoyance mod or annoyance fix mods, which there is one called annoyance fix that I used a while back. I still use the beta, which one? This one here, beta tweaks, but I've disabled most of the options that alter the game too much, in my opinion. Or at least for Journey. Like if it was like casually playing Minecraft beta, I would probably have all the mods and more. Like I'd have, you know, as much as I can get in. That would make the game better. But because it's Journey to the Farlands, a lot of people are going to watch it and look back on it. I wanted to keep it as bare bones as possible, just because of that fact. But yeah, that boat mod seems to have done something to the world. I'm not sure. The boats kind of do a weird jitter now. I don't know if that was a thing. I seem to make reference of it after the mod got removed. So I think it was a new thing after that, because the boats would, I think, ride smoothly before. Now they kind of bob up and down a lot more, like almost like the jitters. So it's a little bit weird. Never quite figured that out, and of course I still haven't figured out the boat death bug, which also seems to have originated from removing that mod. So it seems to have done some damage to boats, but they still work. I can still accelerate them using a Kilo's method. I call it surfing. I don't know what he called it, but I call it surfing, where you kind of hop in and out of the boat repeatedly. Although I try to do it effectively so that it actually pushes the boat, but sometimes I'm just meaninglessly, you know, arbitrarily hopping in and out of the boat for no reason and not really doing anything to propel it forward. But yeah, a lot of boat discussion. Hey, there's an actual Journey to the Farlands discussion though, relative to the world, and not just something I've pulled out of my ass again. I gotta get a drink of water. I got plenty of water with me today. If I do actually go for a while, I guess I'll need it. And I might pop in and out of commentary depending on if anyone joins later on. Or what happens. Like I said earlier, I'm hoping to make this a really productive episode, but time will tell. Time will tell where things go from here. So yeah. But I'm hoping that this year's Farlandiversary will kind of set a precedent for next year and however many years it takes. I'm assuming based on like the 5 million block distance, it probably won't take any more longer than 2 years. But I guess it could extend past another 2 years. I think at least 2 years is a fair assumption. But 1 year seems like too little. Like I think with school and everything and work, it'll all kind of compound again like it did in 2023. It'll kind of be like that over again, maybe even a bit worse for a while. So I'd imagine the series will kind of slow down further than it's ever gone before. And I might have to reevaluate how I upload or, how I do the series. But I'll still be kind of walking regardless. I'll try and get weekly progress at that point. It's kind of my minimum. I don't feel like taking a proper hiatus. It's not really that big of a deal of a world where I'd need to take a hiatus. Maybe other stuff. I'm not quite sure how that'll go. Everything else. But at least for Journey, I'll be able to keep it going well into the next few years. If nothing changes drastically from what I'm anticipating. If it's like a super jarring thing, then it'll all kind of change. But I mean, it's going to change regardless. It's just how much at this point. But yeah, 2 years I'm estimating though about. So there'll probably be 1 or 2 more Farlandiversaries, maybe even more. But I'm hoping there'll be 1 or 2 more, optimistically speaking. I'm trying to be more realistic from many months ago when I thought I could do 1 million a month and reach the Farlands this year. That was not possible because I don't think I'm at that point with this world where I could just do it constantly. I mean, I do it often enough. I think for my like for what I want to, how I want to do it, I think I'm doing it good enough. I don't need to I think anywhere beyond how I'm doing it now is probably forcing it. And that's no fun because I want to try and play this world to enjoy it. Hello, sheepy. So that's what it's all about. It's probably my favorite world that I've done. And it's contained a lot of very cool stuff. Complete bases, although some don't have an interior, but they're complete because I decided not to complete them. Or do the interior, so I consider them complete. Which is cool, because I oftentimes in my Minecraft worlds don't get around to that point. That's what I really want to do with Newcraft, is get to that kind of point where I just have tons of stuff to look around at and show off. I think that'll be really cool. It's what I wished to do in a Journey, maybe at the Farlands, something kind of cool like that. I've always wanted to do that, though. That's one of my big things that I've talked with Devin about, is I've always just done single build things. I've never done like towns, or made it to that point where I'm able to just throw a bunch of random stuff around and make it work. I think that's really cool, being able to do that, and then you can just work. I just never. All the worlds I've played have been relatively short term, unfortunately, and the long term ones I was always kind of moving around too much to actually get anything concentrated. And even my mega base in the one world that went a year was not the greatest. I feel like I've done better stuff or had more promising projects in the shorter term than that project, which I guess was complete around the time I kind of decided it was done, but I didn't really feel finished with it. And I even came back after a while on that world. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to finish the interior, and then I never did. I wanted to do a storage system, which I did actually manage to do in Newcraft 1. I'm still happy about that, regardless of the fact that I actually never got to finish my base in Newcraft 1, or the one that's on the channel. Never got to properly finish my base or get the factory started, but I did get the materials, and I think that was probably my most consistent world I've had in a long time. Newcraft 2 hasn't quite been that, the second world that I'm on right now. But we'll see. Devin's got projects for me, like actually, I don't think I mentioned that, but yeah, there's some projects that I'll be starting in Newcraft 2. So that'll all be coming out soon, hopefully. I'm hoping I'll be able to get back into that a little bit for the fall. I think that'd be a nice escape kind of thing. A little bit of an escape like that, like Journey is. But yeah, I feel like I talk so much about the SMPs, the survival multiplayer servers, but I care a lot about them, even though Journey is kind of the bread and butter. I feel like I've always wanted to do a multiplayer world and have it work, which it did work for a while, but I think the way it is now, I think is the best it can be. It's all really just about how I go into it and adjusting how how I get into it and stuff and my motivation and whatnot. It'll all be dependent on that. Getting the ball rolling and keeping the momentum, I think, is what it'll really be about after a while. Pretty soon. 2 months in and I'm saying that. But discussion was in the episode. I'm saving that for, if you want to know more about Newcraft, go watch Newcraft, that kind of thing. Every episode of Newcraft is edited as well. Journey doesn't get that treatment. You just you see everything the way it is. And there's no sugar coating or glazing over things in this world. There's not really a thing. It's kind of like a one take thing. Things go wrong, I sort them out. I may not be talk about it in the episodes, but stuff goes on occasionally with the world and I have to overcome it. Usually it's done with backups and stuff, but if I don't have a backup, then it gets a bit more complicated. But I've kind of worked my way through all of the solutions anyway. All of the predicaments and whatnot. Oh, lovely though. Lovely stuff. Oh, look at that sandhill. I think those are actually pretty cool. I like the sandhills. They're kind of different to I guess you can't really see a normal hill from here, but I feel like the normal hills are a lot more vertical in beta. So it's nice to see a more mountainous looking hill. You can kind of it's got ridges and stuff and it looks more natural. I guess the crazy beta train is like that as well. With it kind of looks semi-realistic, but I like the beta train for different reasons than I like the modern train post Caves and Cliffs. Which they did a pretty big snapshot actually recently for modern Minecraft. Makes me very interested for what they're going to be doing next. Because they did a huge minecart overhaul and a bit of a redstone, a bunch of changes to the functionality and technicality of redstone, which is pretty neat. I won't go into that. There's videos on it already. Well, I think it's 24W33A if you want to know about it, if you haven't heard of it already. Pretty cool snapshot though. Over 200 bug fixes in it. I guess it was a bunch of their stuff from the summer. Mojang working on the game throughout their break. But yeah, it was a pretty cool snapshot. I'd urge people to check it out if it strikes their interest. I think it's pretty neat. Looking forward to seeing the future versions and updating the server and such as that becomes more prevalent. But it's cool to see. Cool to see. It'd be nice to go past 7.2 million today, but we'll see. I think a goal, if I can manage it, 7.5 million would be kind of cool. I think initially I said 8 million, but I don't think I could do 900K before the end of the month. That just sounds like unreal. So maybe a few 100K before the end of the month might be a bit more manageable, especially if I manage to do like 70,000 today or something. But that's kind of the wishful thinking. I've done it before and I've done it recently, but it'll be a test to see if I can actually get that far today. I'm sure a lot of people are like, "Oh, why do you do so much in every episode?" I want to see shorter episodes, like 30-minute, hour-long episodes, that kind of thing, like I used to do. But I don't know. I just like spending a while in this world. I guess I could split it into chunks, but then it becomes a little bit more complicated on the streaming side. I'll have to like stream like shorter episodes and I don't know. I just like the way it is. It's gonna have a lot of episodes as is. I don't need to throw in anything else. It's gonna have hundreds of multi-hour episodes, which doesn't sound ideal for a lot of people, I'm sure. But that's just the way it goes. It's either that or years of 30-minute episodes or like hour-long episodes if I'm like doing it only like a few times a week. That's like me trying to do it semi-daily. I call it semi-daily. I used to say daily, but I get the off day every once in a while where I'm just like, and I don't really force it that much if it doesn't really work for me to do it. If I have other things I'd rather do, then I'm going to do those things. Or that I need to do, priorities. But, yeah. Trying to think of anything cool I've seen lately in the world here. Bunch of floating stuff. I've been kind of recently documenting a lot of the floating anomalies I've found. And I mean like weird generation. Like the floating grass blocks you see occasionally in the sky. It's kind of weird. It's usually around like mountains. I don't know what causes that, but it's kind of cool. And I've seen floating sand above water. I've got screenshots of that. I guess I'll go over it in the screenshot episode if I ever get around to it. But I've seen floating sand over water, which is pretty weird. I've seen lava in water. Lava in water is pretty common in beta for some reason, like flowing lava, not like cobblestone. I think it's just because the chunks weren't updated. Like I don't really know how that kind of thing happens. I'm saying that about like everything though, because I don't know a whole lot about a lot of it, to be honest. But it's cool stuff nonetheless. It's just stuff I picked up on. But yeah, I've seen a lot of floating stuff. Oh, if you hear me, I go falling into a pit with potentially lava in it. I gotta like look in front of me a little bit. Goodness, I'm like up here and can't see anything. That's honestly what happens when I like fall into like those freak deaths in this world, are just because of that exact thing. That just not seeing where I'm going. Like I just walk and then the next thing you know, I'm in a cave or in a lava fall in a cave. But yeah. Yeah, I've seen tons of weird stuff. I think I've seen like floating cacti. Pretty much anything you can imagine, like trees, sugarcane, yeah, cacti. It all has to do with these water pools. It seems like some kind of like world generation thing is ran before the water pools are added, because sometimes you get like a tree that's cut off by a water pool. I see that happen. And that's pretty much all of the stuff I've seen floating as a result of that kind of bug. And one thing I've noticed as well is I've ran into a lot more spawners recently. I don't document them. I think that's one thing that would be cool. Had I I mean, I started by documenting, but then I lost the screenshots for season 1. And then I was like, well, I don't have proper documentation anyways. Like if I were to do it again, I would actually have like a part of the spreadsheet, or make a spreadsheet back then, since I didn't actually have one for the longest time. I guess I did make one pretty early on. I'm surprised I didn't make one sooner for my coordinates and stuff. But I did actually update it with my notebook and stuff, so it's like I've had it since the beginning because I have all the coordinates. But yeah. It would be nice to actually have proper documentation of spawners and what spawners had golden apples and stuff to get a bit more of a probability estimate for when I'd get a golden apple in this world. But it's too much work at this point. If I were to start logging them, it's it's only an incomplete archive kind of thing. I was like, what's the point of working with that if I've already botched the numbers anyway. So I'm not too bothered by it at this stage. I just kind of walk into them, loot them, and leave now. Whereas I used to do like the actual screenshot every time. So I've got tons of spawner screenshots littered throughout my screenshot folder now. That'll have to just live there. Oh, is that a pink sheep? Lovely. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. I feel like I need to take a screenshot every time I see one of those. That's something I will do. And one thing, if you notice, they actually have the white top, I believe. Like the top of a white sheep. Yeah, look at that. Well, you've been documented, sheep. Oh, see that? There you go. There's some foresight there, finally. Only took me 2 years to develop. Goodness. Well, sometimes I'm really like aware. Sometimes I just get really out of lose my attention a bit with conversation or whatnot, and then I get a little bit distracted, and then next thing you know I'm in a cave and stuff's trying to kill me, or lava, or the whole ordeal. All of the dangers of caves. So I think a little bit of awareness wouldn't kill me. I think it would in fact do the opposite. It would actually make me less likely to get killed. So there. A little bit of survival skills for you. If you want to not die by falling into a cave, just look ahead of you a little bit. And process when you're about to walk into a cave. A gaping hole or whatever. I feel like that's common sense. Even just for real life, like walking around, you don't want to accidentally walk into something and then screw things up. But, well, in a world like this, where I've done it for so long, I kind of get too used to it, and then that's the point where dangerous stuff can happen. Start taking more risk in the world. That's kind of cool. Yeah, see, that's a little bit different, though, to the sand dunes. It'd be cool if there was an actual Minecraft biome that was like the dunes. I guess you do get a kind of dune-like biome in the desert with like the rolling hills a little bit, but I think it'd be cool to get like an actual like proper like dune biome. That's a really cool thing because I love seeing like those like little the hills, the one that I just ran into. I love seeing that kind of stuff. I think it'd be really cool to have a biome that was just a bunch of those. Smaller, of course, not huge dunes that take forever to get across. But at least like some like variation to the normal desert. That'd make a cool kind of sub-biome for a desert or something, like the mangrove swamp. Or even the oasis as well. I know that one's been talked about. That's actually, I think, the one that Mojang brought up with the palm trees. So I'm sure that one's probably more likely than a dune biome, because there's not very much you could add with a dunes biome. I guess maybe some new enemies or something. I don't know. Because we already have desert temples and stuff, so you don't really need pyramids. Big pyramids are a very human thing, and Minecraft doesn't have a lot of that kind of stuff. It has like the stuff that was like inhabited by like the old builders or whatever they're called, whomever they are. There's a lot of theories about it, but the people who built the structures and stuff, which I guess have their roots in real temples and stuff, I guess. But I think it's kind of meant to be a little bit away from that. You know, you're not just gonna find like Mayan temples in Minecraft, because that's like a very human thing. I don't know if that's actually like a thing they put into consideration, because a lot of the recent structures as well are kind of formulated, like the trial chamber or the trail ruin or the ancient city. They're all kind of very Minecraft and not from the real world, which I think is nice. You know, they add a lot of real world mobs into the game, or real world mobs, real world animals into Minecraft as mobs. And they have their limitations there as well. But yeah, it's nice seeing that kind of stuff. It makes me wonder what they're going to do in Minecraft Live, if they're going to be doing another mob or biome vote. Or if they're just going to include a bunch of mob biome, or like a biome votes update kind of thing, where they update a bunch of the biomes. I know a lot of people want the end update, and I mean, I honestly want it too, but I'm kind of trying to be open to the fact that there's a good likelihood that there's not going to be an end update the next update, and I'm fine with that myself. I know a lot of people will probably be devastated and start giving Mojang a piece of their mind, but I'm going to be looking forward to it either way, I think, because they always manage to do cool stuff, regardless of whether it's um, something crazy or not. No, I don't think every Minecraft update needs to be super crazy and revolutionary. I think Tricky Trials was one where I was kind of like humming and hawing about it actually when it first got announced. Me and Devin were kind of like, oh, that was kind of underwhelming at first. And then I actually got into the trial chambers recently and got into the update, and we had the blocks for Newcraft 1, like the first world we had. And that really made me realize how cool the update was. So I really think the update was cool. So I think they can do something. They'll be able to do something really cool, regardless of whether it's the end update or not. Just not quite sure where they're headed after the Tricky Trials, because I feel like that was a pretty sizable update. I know a lot of people might not think of it as huge, but it's relatively major what it adds. I mean, it's a new structure and some various odds and ends, but when you actually start to get into it, it's quite immense what they've done. And one thing I really like, I don't know if I've talked about it before, but I really like when they add things like they used to, kind of thing, like miscellaneous like new tools, like the brush, and I like the discs and that kind of thing. I like that kind of stuff. I think that's really cool. Oh, the skeletons are probably after me. Yeah, maybe deal with them. Look at that. Those are some skills. I know it's just spamming a bow, and there's not even any reload or anything. How old-fashioned, eh? I'll scrounge together a bed or two here. But yeah, I do like the work they put into the updates. Oh, there's a third one. Come here. Using all my arrows now. Oh my god, I left a bloodbath here. I don't think I really actively engage in combat that often. That was funny. I don't know if I must have just arrived here by boat, because yeah, I wouldn't have placed that if I knew that the ocean was ending. Although there isn't, I've said it before, but there isn't actually an ocean biome for beta. There's probably like some kind of generation stuff relating to it, but when you actually go into an ocean, there's no differentiation in the biome. At least with this mod. I'm not sure if there actually is one in the code. I think it's just kind of built in to the world gen and not really treated as its own biome, like an update aquatic, or even I guess later versions, like beta 1.8 and 1.0, where the ocean is actually like this huge thing that kind of connects land masses, as opposed to being more of like almost lakes in this version. You get a little bit of like larger bodies, like maybe not like a sea, but you get kind of an ocean going, a larger lake. And it's hard to tell whether Minecraft's water is fresh water or salt water, but that doesn't really matter, because you don't really drink water in Minecraft anyway. Although in like mods where they add thirst, a lot of like just drinking water out of the ocean just makes you like nauseous, which makes sense because actual water, unfiltered, can do that. If it has like bacteria and stuff, it can make you sick. Especially salt water, it makes you dehydrated and is basically pointless to drink. Better off just making fresh water out of it, which is easier said than done for for some things. I don't know why I'm talking about like water now. Like it's a talking point. Like I know nothing about this stuff, and yet I'm talking about it. But whatever. And the other mirror topic that I talked about last episode was Subnautica, which I'm very close to finishing. Now I kind of wish I had done a playthrough of it, but I also realized that I'm not blind to the game. I wouldn't really bring much new things to the table for a playthrough. So that's kind of why I didn't make a playthrough of it. Although in October, there will be a Subnautica series coming. Just one with a bit of a twist. A multiplayer Subnautica series, which will be fun to do in the fall. It's kind of a more Halloween related thing. And Journey won't really get a Halloween episode this year. It might get a name, like a Halloween name. But yeah, this year is probably going to be the year that I don't do a Halloween special, because the first Halloween special I did was when I went to the Nether for the first time in this world back in 2022, and then a year later in 2023 I did Midst of the Mist, which was a kind of a Herobrine related episode. And yeah, I probably won't do one this year. I'm going to save it all for Subnautica, so keep your eye out for that on the channel in October if you're still around to look around for it. You're interested, kind of thing. That should be coming, and then some kind of below zero. I think when I play below zero, if it's either multiplayer or by myself, I'll probably do a series on it regardless. It might be a little bit weird doing below zero before Subnautica if that ends up being the case. But that game I'm actually a bit more blind to, and I don't really remember a whole lot about it. So I'll be going off of, basically playing the first game and a bit of early access a few years ago, like was it 5 years ago when it was in early access? Or was it like more like 2021? I'm trying to remember what year it was that I would have played it. But it was around that time. It's been years since I last played it, and it changed quite a bit. Got plenty of updates. I'll probably be surprised by a lot of things, a lot of story points. I generally know the gist of the game, so it won't be a complete like blind playthrough, but I think it'll have a bit more merit to it than Subnautica itself. I probably could have done a series on Subnautica and made it interesting, but I found it to be more enjoyable just to do it by myself and save. It saves having to do 2 different series on the game. I think me and Devin are probably going to do a relatively complete playthrough of it. Or I don't know what Devin's thinking. He might just want to do a few streams, but I kind of want to do an actual playthrough of it with him. So it doesn't make sense to have 2 playthroughs of it. At least it didn't make sense for me. So I'm just going to have that be the Subnautica. I accidentally flinched and hit my mouse there, in case anyone was curious what was going on. But yeah, it'll be cool though to have a Subnautica and a Below Zero series on the channel, because I think those games definitely deserve the spotlight. They're a lot of fun. I love the progression of those games. I haven't played Below Zero as much, so I can't speak for that progression. Oh, I see a spawner over there. But Subnautica has definitely been a lot of fun to play. I'm very close to the end of it now. I'm almost at the end, and I'm probably just going to do my loose ends now. I've got some ideas for when I'm going to be playing with Devin, for what I want to do. Oh, is there no chest in here? Maybe I got to do a little bit digging. There might just not be one here. Usually it's along the wall, though. And usually it's kind of poking out of the sand. You can see like a bump. Yeah, that's just the spawner there. Okay. Nothing in this one. Fine. Oh, that's fine. I'm not I'm not disappointed. Even though I like sighed afterwards. No, I'm not too that disappointed. Most spawners have junk in them anyways. I usually just grab the iron and go, or bread if there's bread, but I don't grab like cocoa beans or anything like that. Or not cocoa beans, I guess it's just cocoa or whatever, like the brown dye. Because that's all it is in beta. Guess closer to the Farlands, I could grab it just to stock up on it because it's a hard thing to come by. Same thing with mossy cobble. But honestly, I guess bricks as well, but bricks is kind of an easier one. It's it's kind of hard to find clay, but it's not as hard as old Minecraft or even older than beta. I mean, I feel like the challenges were improved in beta because clay seems to be all over the place, at least in Journey. So I'm probably just gonna gather that. If I need it for something, I'll just gather it around that base. It just might make the playtime a bit longer at that outpost. That's all. Depending on how much I need. I think it's a cool block. I haven't used it yet in any of my builds, so I might work that into one outpost at some point, or even the Farland outpost itself, or Farland base, I should say. But yeah, what was I talking about? I kind of lost my train of thought talking about all that. But yeah, I was talking about the outposts. I'm trying to backpedal a little bit, see where I was. So not good progression. Yeah, I don't know. I had a good talking point, and I just gone. Just disappeared. It's close to the end of the episode anyway, or at least the end of my commentary. For now, I'm gonna probably just sit back and watch some TV or YouTube or whatever in the meantime, as I usually do in no commentary. A nice little thing that I can do is make progress in the world while not having to talk all the time. This is my commentary for the day, I'm paying it in now. But yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely might gather those rare resources. I got it back. The train of thought's back. I might gather those resources for the Farlands at some point, or for an outpost if I need it for a pallet. But like, yeah, the mossy cobble and the cocoa beans are a resource that I can't really get my hands on at the Farlands that easily. Also golden apples, which I've been trying to hoard, but I keep losing them. 3 golden apples in this world. I think that's 3 or 4 I've found. And yeah, I've got none right now. Because the last one I had got deleted with my power outage. Yes. Usually people joke about a power outage and or some kind of technical difficulties and they're like, oh, looks, I accidentally got 2 times the diamonds. But no, it was actually an honest thing that happened with the power outage. I could have just gone to a backup, but I didn't have one. I'm bad at making backups, in case you can't tell. It's a bit of a thing. I might take a quick moment after my commentary actually to make a backup while I'm restarting my game. So it might take a minute or 2 to come back after the commentary, but it's usually probably where most people will drop off anyway, unless you're a really committed watcher. Or viewer. Watcher is a weird word, watcher. Just sounds a bit strange. But yeah. Cool stuff. Oh, the yawning. I gotta wrap up my commentary. I'm just gonna be yawning into oblivion instead of walking. Yawning and walking to oblivion. But yeah. I'll come back at the end of the episode with my outro. So yeah. See you then. Oh.